Hello, everyone. Welcome to live productivity sprints, writing sprints, whatever you want it to be. I'm revising. I need to get work done, and so I begged Miranda. I was like, "Do you want to stream with me? Because I
It
prefer
didn't
not
take
to be
much.
alone." It didn't take much, because this is Miranda. Hi, everyone. Meet Miranda. Link down below. Go subscribe to her channel. She's also in Pacific time, which is why I asked her because I was like, who will stream with me on a Friday afternoon? But this is great for
Mm-hmm.
I have to remember, I usually stream at a time convenient for our Brits. Now we're hitting
Mm-hmm.
the Aussies and like the other side of the globe. So maybe it'll work better for people.
Love that.
Um, Basically work on whatever you want to work when we do time. I'm going to pull up timers. It's going to be very fancy because I am really behind on my book. So that's what I'm working on. My second YA thriller. I have edits for my editor. Theoretically, it was due around now. That goes in quotes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not quite halfway done. And my editor is aware of this. Anyway, that's what I'm working on. Miranda, what are you working on?
So, it is technically like a camp nano in July kind of situation. I didn't set an official goal. I was like, maybe I'll finish this round of revision on this book. It seems as though I might. I'm on Act 3, so who knows? I got
Home
2 more
stretch.
days. Yeah. I made a mistake in the middle where I was like, let me just fully do a developmental edit of my Act 2 in the middle of this revision. These
Been
things
there.
happen.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that's what I am working on, of also a YA thriller situation. I don't know if it's really a thriller. It's more of a
I know that because I
mystery,
watched
but
your vlogs. So
yeah,
we can talk about that.
we
Part of what's
can.
driving me insane is all the mystery stuff.
It's
Like,
so hard.
well, like my editor will make one suggestion, and and she's very nice, and I've literally had to say to her, I'm like, I know why you want to do that,
Mhm.
but I'm not going to rewrite my entire second act just to have a fun moment here. You're
Yeah.
right, but you're also wrong. Love you. Like,
Everything,
it
it's
unravels.
so, it like, everything, a small edit can like make ripple changes so easily. And it's a lot to juggle. So after I finish this, I'm gonna have to do a full read through and like make sure my
Yep.
continuity is all good.
Yep.
Um,
That's what I've been
because
doing too.
I'm sure it's not.
Well, and that's I mean I'm so behind, but like it's basically taken me a month to do like
Mhm.
act 1 and a little bit of act 2, and I kept having to go back. I have a pacing problem, which is a whole other problem. And like literally last Sunday I was doing my read through of act 1, like let's see if I did okay, and I went, I have to throw that entire beat out. And then
Awful.
Grace, but
The
it was the
worst.
right thing to do. Like I realized it in the moment. I was like, oh, I know I have to cut that entire thing. And I sent the first part to my editor, like, surprise, that's gone now. Have fun.
Wow.
It's fine. I gotta get to the murder. It's ridiculous. But like my defense is that this new one is a mystery, and I
Mhm.
feel like the pacing's a little. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm just justifying my anyway.
At least you have a murder. I don't even have a murder.
Yeah, I mean, you can write a mystery without a murder. It's just I
It's a
find murder easier
disappearance.
to write. See, and I
Which,
had someone
that's
ask
a
the other day.
spoiler. By saying it's not a murder, it's a disappearance. That's a spoiler, but it's fine. Whatever.
It's fine. No one will remember when it comes out in a couple years. That's the other thing. Although I do have a couple of like viewers who like actually do remember things I say years later. Oh well, that's the cost of
Mhm.
watching my vlog. Someone was like, "Oh, I totally knew it that twist was coming because I watched your vlogs." I was like,
I think I might be that person. I think I know what twist you're
You
talking
probably know what
about
it was
because.
in the Ivies, but at the same time, like there's so little I say in my vlogs as it is that
Mhm.
I have to have something. Hold
Yeah.
on, kittens are doing things in the background. Yes, if everyone's lucky, we might have a kitten cameo. Right
Mhm.
now, they're playing. Um, yeah. Oh gosh, mysteries. It's fine. We're fine. I'm a mess. It's great, but that is what we are here for. So I guess because I'm a talker, perhaps we do our first sprint right now. And inevitably, I'm sure people will have interesting things to say in the chat. We can do some like not Q&A, but you know what I mean? Like I feel I'd love to talk like mystery thriller stuff because it helps me process. But in the meantime, let's write. Yeah, let's do it.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Let's do it.
And if the kittens come, I will show them to everyone. Okay,
I have a
so
dog as well, but it's a little harder to show.
yeah, you
She's
can't really
on the
like
ground.
necessarily pick up. I can feel like this. Whoop, my cat's up.
Yeah,
If,
she's
if
like
they come
60
here,
pounds. It's not gonna happen.
the
And
cats
it's
are a
also
little.
like I would pan down and show you, but then I show my entire room, and it's not been prepared for that. So
Well, the YouTube secret people don't realize is it looks clean in our frame, and then everywhere else is chaos. That's how my apartment is. So
yeah.
I have like not literal trash, but like an empty bowl next to me. Like just
Mm-hmm.
I'm a
But the
mess. Okay,
bowl is perfectly coordinated with your shirt.
actually, that's true. Ah, summer
I'm
vibes.
sure you planned that.
Sure. No, actually, I mean, it's me gravitating toward the same color scheme in all the things I own. My cup also color coordinates.
Mm-hmm.
So, or my old man cat just like made a sound. They're so weird. Okay, I'm gonna screen share. How long do we want to do? I'm thinking like maybe start slow with like 15 minutes, maybe.
Sounds great. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, people asking about the kittens. One is a ginger cat, and the other is when I got her, they said she was a calico, but like I've looked it up. I really think she's a tortie because of her coat pattern, but she's a dilute. She's like gray and cream. It's really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They're adorable.
I like them a lot.
No one asked. The dog is a staffy boxer mix. It's not as much of a dog stream, but that's fine.
Oh, we can see the Paula's Choice ad. Let me mute it.
Always Paula's Choice. Oh my god.
It's because it's no Paula's Choice. Like I love them, but they target their ads to me constantly. I
They need
can't
to put on a
them.
frequency cap. I work in advertising. You can fix
They
that.
should because like I'm already dedicated to you. You are wasting your ad dollars. I'm going to buy your products.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to sell me this hard. The other one I get all the time is Torrid. I get Torrid a lot. Same. I'm like, guys, be smarter with your dollars. Anyway, I digress. I got a couple other ones too, but Paul's
Just advertising talk. I can't control it. It just happens.
Okay. All right, and yeah, and I'll keep it muted, even though it does have a lovely like beach sound. But I picked beach because like beach vibes. It's summer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, and someone says you can edit the ads. You see, I know, but if I tell them not to show me Paula's Choice ads, and I actually do like Paula's Choice, I'll get more of the other ads I hate I don't actually dislike the Paula's Choice ads. I just get them all the time. At least they have that soothing wind chime sound in the ads. I get this one targeted ad, and I know why. It's because of my stupid day job. You go to e-releases once for your job, and then this guy, Mickey Kennedy, that's his name, he stalks me, and the video plays, and it's an hour-long tutorial on how to use e-releases. Exactly. So if I don't skip after 5 seconds, it will play for an hour.
The annoying thing is they're showing that to you for free when you skip it. Like they only have to pay after a certain point, and when the video is an hour long, it's anyway.
Anyway, so I'd rather have Paula's Choice all day, every day than e-releases. Calling them out, stop showing me your ads. Yes, I use you for day job, but now you won't leave me alone on YouTube, and I get it on mobile ads. And I guess the answer is me. I would love to block that ad. I'll figure it out. Anyway, work. Okay, and we're going. We did it.
We're back.
One
First
down.
one.
First one.
How'd that go for
How did
you?
okay. So I am revising. So I'm doing like a little like yesterday I completely rewrote a chapter. Although it's like a shell game. Like you have stuff
Mm.
and you're moving it around and I basically am completely reversing the order of when she's finding out information and talking to people. Mysteries, man. So yeah, I wrote the little bridge I needed between one thing like a transition to get her into the next thing. So now I'm in it. I get to look at something I wrote before and try and copy. I'm in the split screen in Scribner now. And I wasn't when we started the sprint, so that's good.
That's progress.
How about you?
Um, I am also revising. I'm doing more of like a line edit at this point, thankfully, because the developmental stuff was a lot. And it's going okay. I just found 3 instances of the word or like prefix any in 18 words. So that's a crutch. We'll be watching out for that going forward.
Oh, crutch words. I'm
And
still
it's
not
funny.
bothering with those.
At least I found it. I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
now
that's
you
a
know.
bit much. Now I know. How did the chat do?
Yeah, it's also hard. You know this from revising. I don't judge by words written when I'm
Mm.
revising. It's just like a nebulous feeling. Like, did I make progress? I guess I did.
And
Um,
even if like if you did make progress, like was that progress good? Like did it actually make it better? Because sometimes you can be revising and you're like, I don't know if that actually
uh,
helped anything.
uh, that's half the battle. And with parsing an editor's notes, like there's one like it's currently on hold right now, and I'm going to talk to her about it because my gut tells me she wants me to throw something out and do something else. I'm like, but what does it achieve? It won't substantively do anything. Like it's just changing it, not making it better, in my humble opinion. Whereas the
Mm,
section I'm in now, I'm making it better. So it's but at
that's
least
good.
I mean I can make that judgment. Some days I'm like I have no clue what I'm doing. None.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm there yet, but I love that for you.
Oh, Riley is working on her thriller revision for AMM. So mysteries, man, they really like I guess you can probably say this about whatever you're writing. Although I can compare writing this to writing sci-fi and writing other things. Like I genuinely think thriller slash mysteries are some of the hardest things to write and then revise. Like
Mm,
it hurts my brain
yeah.
sometimes. Like
The thing that I have like a hard time with mine is like, with the Ivies, for example, we all know the Ivies, so I'm gonna use it as an example. But you do such a good job of like going back and forth between college admissions and murder. And like not everything kind of has to go toward but like I don't know if you know what I mean, but it's so hard for me to like go back to the other part but have it make sense because it's like shouldn't you be
you
more
mean the balancing act,
frantic?
the
Yeah,
juggle?
like
It's
balancing
hard,
both parts of
and
it,
I didn't.
especially with a YA when you kind of
Yeah,
want
and I didn't nail that on the first go. That took
it's hard.
revision, and that's this book now too. My
Mm-hmm.
I because I hate myself. This one I'm juggling. I'm juggling like all the small town tropes, like all the
Mm-hmm.
small town secrets tropes. And there was actually something where my editor was like, "Do we have to do this?" And I was like, "It's the trope. The readers will be bad. I have to have it." But I'm juggling two concurrent murder mysteries separated by 50 years because I hate myself. So yeah, I'm actually almost to the part of the book where the character experiences the turn of like finding out the thing. The thing happens where she goes, "Wait, should I be investigating a 50-year-old murder?
And it's
Why do
like,
I do
yeah,
this?"
didn't you read the synopsis? Of course you should.
Doesn't she know this? What book she's in?
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
she like kind of knew it might be connected, but I'm about to do the part where she like is like, "Oh, I wonder if this baby boomer is a secret killer."
Probably.
I got all the boomers in this book. Like a good like fourth of my cast are grandparents.
Hmm.
That's how I roll. So
It's boarding school, so there is like no one above the age of 35 in my book.
that's fun.
I have a scene, it's set in Malibu, and there's a scene where she like
Nice.
goes out off campus for the first time in a long time, and I took this from like my own experience in college because I remembered going off campus for the first time in a long time in college and being like, oh my god, like there's people above the age of 22 around, and it was like, oh my god, I haven't seen an old person in forever.
That's living in Boston.
Not that
Like,
anyone over 22 is old. I mean, like, you know, a retiree or something.
well, no, Boston was so strange because it's basically all colleges,
Mm-hmm.
and like everyone in Boston pretty much is under the age of 30. At least that's how it feels. And so then you leave, you're like, oh, yeah. Also, we're gonna talk because my next YA thriller, I want to do some SoCal like privilege
Ooh.
vibes, and I'm
Okay.
circling Malibu. We'll talk.
We'll talk.
I'm gonna write an isolation trip mystery. So
Ooh, in Malibu. That's exciting.
Yeah. And I kind of put it in my last video, but like people were like, you're not making videos. I'm like, yes, because this revision's eating my brain, and I'm a literal hot mess. I'm a hot mess. That's why we're streaming, because I was like, I should make videos anyway. But literally 3 weeks ago, I had no idea what I was like, oh my god, I don't know what to write. I'm a hot mess. Things can change. I literally just work backwards from that trope. I want to write that trope, and I thought about it obsessively while not actually revising my current book, because that's how it works. Hope my editor doesn't watch this. She won't. The days I wasted obsessing on the next book I'm going to write, where I have to finish this one in order to have the privilege of writing another one, and I am a mess. I just forced myself to have a good idea.
Definitely not like taking it for granted that this is still just fun for me. Like, I don't have no one's telling me to do any of it, so it's definitely not taking that for granted. Maybe someday someone will. Maybe someday someone won't, and that's fine.
Great. We got so many cool people I love in the chat. We got Holden and Nana's, Riley's here, Great Fry's here. It's like a party. I love it.
Everybody.
And someone was gonna someone said Yale was going to ask advice for someone writing a murder mystery subplot for the first time. Miranda, then I
was
can
gonna
just
say Alexa, like no. None.
Well, it's good that it's a subplot. Like, start small. Like, I actually feel like I was testing the waters with my retellings, because I inserted my murder plots into both of them, basically, kind of. The first one was a conspiracy, and then the second one was like a murder. And I was like dipping my toes in. And honestly, that's what clued me in, honestly, where I was like, wait, you keep doing this? Like, maybe there's something here. Let's kill people in books. But
no, there's not a murder in mine. There's a murder in my other book that I wrote, kind of. Again, that's another spoiler. Whether or not there's murder is always a spoiler in my books. But it's, I don't know. I don't think I did it well, so I truly don't have any advice. Like, that's my thing. I feel so unqualified to give anyone any advice. Like, I just log what I'm doing, and if that helps anyone, great. If it doesn't, great. I don't know.
I guess my advice is, I mean, you should have a very clear idea of who did it, who died, and why. It is the place to start. I mean, I actually think the hardest part is making the person who dies interesting enough that multiple people would have a feasible reason to kill them. And that is harder than you think. But also coming up with reasons that are not just like logical, but haven't been done a million times before. And that's really, really hard. She says, starting to realize that I actually think I'm going to eventually get called out for my motives being pretty ridiculous. And I swear, I'm not like trying to make them ridiculous. I just keep getting these brainwaves of like, that's a really bonkers reason to kill someone, but surely someone would. And then it goes in a book. So I did it in the Ivies. I'm pretty proud of this next one. I think it's pretty good. And then the isolation trope thriller, it's so bad, I don't know if my editor will let me do it. And
that's why you should do it.
That's my feeling, but I feel like she might really question everything about me when I tell her. I'm a little concerned for myself too, but like at the same time, I'm like, it took some time to get to that motive, because you shouldn't naturally think of really good reasons to kill people. And when you get a really good reason, you should go, whew, I'm glad I'm not a serial killer, and then use it in your book, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It worries sometimes. No, not literally. Don't worry.
Yeah, I will say the person who disappears in mine, I had so much fun figuring out reasons why someone would want her to disappear and like all the things that she could have done in the past. That was very fun.
Yeah.
I can't say any of them because they all go to the. I have a blank meets blank situation, and I only say one of the blanks, like the boarding school mystery. That's the part that I say, and it all goes back to the other part. But
I love it. See, that's how it should be. And honestly, like, this is, I don't know so much answers Yael's question, but it's something that I just think I've discovered as a thriller writer, because I do work backwards. At least for me, I know it's gonna be okay and the book is gonna work when I can pitch it without having to pitch the cool spoiler part. And for me, that's the hard part. So Murder, She Texted, I literally spent like 18 months just literally not knowing any way to make it sound interesting without spoiling the book. And I'm actually working on an adult one, and I'm still in that phase where like I keep spoiling it for the people I pitch it to, because I'm like, no, but you have to hear the twist.
You'll get there.
So for me, that's how I know I need more development. So, that's why I like true crime. I agree. Research serial killers, not just serial killers, but new thing that I'm watching in it. It's actually, so I did an event with an author, and she mentioned this show, and then I just turned it on Discovery Plus, and I fell down a hole. Joe Kenda, Homicide Hunter on Discovery Plus is his original series. He was a homicide detective in Colorado Springs, and he had like something like a 90% clear rate, like this insane solve rate for his homicides. And it's just it's him narrating it, and they have some reenactments, but and then he has another one. Once he basically did 9 seasons and covered so many of his own cases, he ran out of cases. So now he does American Detective, where he lets other detectives tell their murder stories. But like, just watching episode after episode, sometimes the motives are just so stupidly simple that you wouldn't think of. Like, and it really is the stuff like, it's money, it's revenge, it's jealousy, or just stupid impulse. There was one, like, a dude, like, he was just, breaking into women's apartments in his apartment complex, and, our wording, I can't say because, YouTube's, doing bad things, and then murdering the women just because.
Wow.
Because he wanted to, because he could. So,
but here's the thing, like, you can't put that in a book, because
it was just like, oh, they're there. That's it. And it is true. We can't really get away with that.
No, because everyone would be like, wow, what a cop-out. And you're like, no, but that's people actually do that. Yeah. So it can't, it almost needs to be, like, in a book, the motive that you gave in the Ivies, like, that one is more compelling in a book than, I don't know, he just wanted to.
Oh, yeah, and Riley is absolutely right. That's the other reason I like watching some of these shows. Like, it can really help with police procedure as well. Interrogation. I actually have an ID, investigation discovery, like, joke in my book, because I've been watching so much of it. I'm like, yeah, you get a real feel for specifically police interrogation. You watch enough of these shows, you're like, there's the camera in the corner, and like the dinky, and like they never look as cool as they do on TV, like real like fiction TV. They're dinky little rooms with sad little tables, and I'm like, I love it.
Yeah, it's like if you were handcuffed to the actual table, you could just go.
Yeah.
I like to do, because I don't love a police procedural situation. So what I did was I put it in an institution that would have many, many reasons to cover up what was happening and not want the police involved. So, yeah, that's what I did to get around it.
I love this. Yeah, so I'm new to Joe Kenda. That man is amazing. Like, I'm like, obviously he has a TV show. He needs to be fictionalized. Like, there should be like a Joe Kenda detective series. Like, he's just such a badass. And what I like about the show specifically that I can recommend to people, because not all true crime shows are like this, it's very victim centered. He's very like focused on like this horrible person like did this like and he talks about the families and the pain that they feel and I like that. He never loses sight of the victim, and like you can tell that he really cares about the people who are murdered, and that he was driven to basically like find the person who did it. Hey,
That's
Miranda.
nice. That's exciting. Wow. How fun. The last like murdery thing that I listened to because it was a podcast was In Your Own Backyard, I think it was, which is the Kristen Smart podcast because I'm from the area, but it happened at a time when I don't know. I was like a little. If I was even born, I was very much like a little kid, and they just kind of figured out what happened, or they knew for a while, but it's just now like the guy's getting caught, and that was very like interesting to kind of have it be put in that light of being so like close to home was crazy.
Yeah.
And that one was also very like victim centered, which I appreciated.
That's something I find really interesting, and it's definitely hard to achieve the balance. Although I guess for the kind of ones we write, I think this is a function of YA, but also a function of the amateur detective. Is I think it is tough because like a lot of fiction can lose sight of like the real. Although how if you did something really real about how awful it is to find a dead body, to lose someone, the investigation wouldn't happen. It'd just be like
Yeah. That's
depressing.
the thing. That's with mine. I was like, no, it's her sister. So if she like actually really had reason to think that her sister was dead, like if it was me, I wouldn't be able to investigate anything. So, yeah.
Though in the current one, and this is like I think this is a real thing, or at least I know when I lost someone, I threw myself into work as a distraction. So I'm really leaning heavily on that. But in fairness, the murder my character is investigating is not someone she was close to, but she has lost her parent, so she is grieving. Like it's such a like what better way to distract yourself from like actually facing your own feelings and investigating a murder. We should all do it. It's fine. I'm fine.
I wish I was the person who threw myself into work. I very much did not do that.
I'm not saying it's healthy. It's really not. And in fact, I have, because it's a nice, neat fiction arc. She realizes that's a bad idea pretty quickly.
Good.
Because I have to get the story done in like a week. But real humans, it's years. Anyway, I love all this murder chat. But again, I will literally talk forever. Let's do another sprint.
We can. I almost forgot we were sprinting.
I know. Watch out. I do this. Oops. And hold on. Like, you keep talking for a second while I pull something up.
Yeah. I see lots of, like, a kind of scary serial killer comments. I am very easily spooked. Like, I can't do too much of it. I'm not strong enough to handle that. Yeah. There was a time, I don't know, I feel like everyone goes through kind of like a murder phase. Is that a weird thing to say? Mine was in college when I was like listening to so many murder podcasts and things like that.
Yep.
But
also, I just realized the last time I said we would do 15 minutes, and I 100% opened up a 20-minute timer. So
you did?
I did, because I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, the 20-minute one's already played, but the 15-minute one isn't. We can do 20 minutes again. I'm pretty sure that's what I did.
Oh, that's so funny. I also really liked that timer. It's good. I'm writing in Malibu. It's a great ambiance.
See, right? I like ambiance. Camille Merrick has one that has rain sounds, and like that's my jam. Like I love that kind of thing.
Nice. I wish it rained more here. It's really truly so sad.
Oh, that's actually a note. What did I read where? I was reading something where they had it raining, and it's something I just CP'd. I need to give them that note. I just reminded myself they had something in LA and they kept having rain, and I was like, no. It just like, no. Is it the one day of but it doesn't storm. Not really, not in Hollywood. It
yeah,
just
that's true.
And I'm like, that's inaccurate.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
but
apropos of nothing.
The thing that they should do if they're looking for a storm, have it be Santa Ana season.
It is not here, or like not like in LA. Okay. Like you could go a little north. Yeah.
No, not even that north. Where I grew
No.
up, we didn't really get storms either.
Yeah, we
You'd
did.
have to go. You'd have to go like San Francisco, like really far,
Yeah.
really
That's what.
far.
So that's what I love about my book. I set it in NorCal so I could have weather because like I
Nice.
miss weather so much.
I set mine in Malibu because I was like, then I don't have to deal with the continuity of weather.
True. Well,
It's
that's only really a
Malibu
thing.
and Santa Barbara are my two settings that I've used so far.
Nice. Beach vibes. So beach vibes. I'm gonna
Very much so.
share. Okay. All right. Let's do it. We did it.
Yay.
Yay. How'd it go?
Maybe 40 minutes total, maybe 35, not sure. That went well. I'm just, I just keep going. I'm like, wow, these sentences are so terrible. Which I always try and look at positively because I'm like, well, the sentences are getting better.
Yes, that is the aim.
I don't know.
I'm a little deeper into this scene, but it's copying and pasting a lot of stuff I already wrote. So it's just like grafting things together, and like I don't know if I've created a new problem for myself. I'm kind of at that point with something that I'm doing. It's fine. We're fine. We're fine.
I'm realizing that in my last pass, I may have created a problem for myself, but
that's fun. That's
what happens.
So,
I also had to replace my keyboard. I was using a different keyboard, and my spacebar stopped working. So
that's not good.
I was just writing all these run-on words.
Yeah, clearly I'm tired, but I'm always tired.
I saw a comment from Miracle Bronco saying that they edited the wrong chapter. How does that happen? How do you do that?
Let us know.
I want to know.
And there's a little bit of chat about my next book, Murder She Texted. Eddie likes the title, but I'm here to tell you, my editor might change it, so don't get too attached.
I like the title too.
Lexi said, well, so Lexi's read it, so maybe, yeah, you can read it too if you want, Miranda. So, she read the garbage draft. So, I'm changing a lot. It's getting better. It's the concern that I've had since the beginning that I said in my announcement video. And we shared it with my cover designer because I'm assigned to my cover designer now. Same person who did the Ivies. I'm so excited.
That's great.
Casey's great. I'm
when
gonna
is
have
that coming?
What, the cover?
No, the conversation.
Oh yeah. So
okay,
we're scheduling it. I just threw that thing ahead of time, and then I was like, oh, I should schedule this soon. I'm so excited because I'm a nerd about this kind of stuff. I'm like, ooh, I want to know things. I also selfishly want to be like, what are you doing for my book? But
it's just an interrogation,
right? So this is like, it's a glimpse into the process. So, and this is pretty standard. So your publisher will almost always ask you if you have any ideas, like what you have in mind. But like, I will warn people, like, even in the best of circumstances, like when they're really nice, they're gonna ignore you 95% of the time. Not maliciously, but in the sense of like, we're not designers. We don't think like designers. And that's why I'm always so impressed. So like, Casey did the Ivies. Oh, it's so pretty. I would have never thought of this. And in fact, they did ask me like, do you have any ideas? Not really. I mean, I had ideas, but they weren't. It was like, I don't know, like school uniforms, blood, Ivy, like just basic shit.
Because Ivy could have been fun.
I did ask to have Ivy on the cover, and they declined.
It's a little on the nose, but it would have been
fun. But Casey came up with this, and it's so smart, and that's what designers do. They're professionals. They are visual thinkers in a way that I am not, clearly. And although that said, I think I had some pretty strong ideas for Murder She Texted. However, I realized brainstorming and sending them ideas, they asked me about like mood and like thoughts and motifs, and I realized because of the title, it really has to have a phone on it, the cover, like it.
Yeah.
And that dictates where your copy goes. That dictates your text treatment, your title treatment. And I am nerding enough about design to know about all of that stuff, like, because I like to play in Photoshop, and I manage designers through my day job. Like, it's my job to tell them what to do, but then they're often smarter than me, and they do better than I tell them to do. I do creative work orders. So I basically say, like, we need web banners, and like, slide one is this, and I write all the copy. But I'll say to my designers, because I trust them, like, this is what I'm visualizing, but like, you're the designer, like, and that's the thing. And so I said, and also it's a very campy title. It's very cute. I agree, it's a great title. Um, and again, like I don't know if Lexi's still in the chat. Um, I don't think it's that cute a book. I'm funny and I'm. It's not. It's kind of dark. At least I think it's dark. Maybe I don't know my book well enough, but my concern is that people are gonna think it's gonna be camp or like a romp, and it it falls in the middle anyway. And so once I put that out and the designer agreed with me, then my editor was like, oh well, maybe we'll, like, it's not set in stone that we're going to change the title, but we are open to brainstorming and we'll be brainstorming a new title, to see if there's something else that we like more so that we can have more cover options. Basically, it's so that we can explore more than just because it really does back us into a cover design, and that is my concern. I can't think of any covers I like that have a phone on them, personally, because the title treatment, it has to be really small.
That's true.
She also never texts murder in this book, because obviously it's a play on Murder, She Wrote, but it's not literal. But it's so cute.
Yeah, I'm assuming, I mean, it's probably much more like snarky than campy.
Yeah.
No? I don't know. Yeah. I haven't read it. I have no idea.
I am snarky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just, like, that's the Alexa voice, is snark.
It is. I'm very snarky.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where I am with it. And I haven't, like, even before we submitted it, I couldn't come up with a better title than what it has. And I'm also like, oh, like, branding wise, it really is so cute. I'm fine. I'm fine. Writing's hard.
Titles are so difficult. Really hard. I can't.
The Ivies is my one and only home run. And that's the thing. Like, I've never nailed a title on the first go except for that book. Just that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have bet myself into a pretzel to keep this joke in the book. I put this joke in the book, and my editor wanted me to rewrite that scene, and we'll see if it makes it, because I, on this pass, have stubbornly kept that scene just to have my character's joke about a murder turducken.
That's incredible. And it's good, and I think it really, really catches the vibe. Can you tell I'm from California? I just used the phrase catches the vibe. Oh, God.
Like, chill out, man.
Yeah, that's really... I've made it a personality trait. It's fine.
Honestly, it kind of is a personality trait. Californians, man, I love them. You're born and raised, right?
Yep, I am. My whole life has been in California, except for like 3 months when I lived in the UK. That's all I got.
I've adjusted, and like, I definitely think if I like ran into someone who hasn't seen me in 20 years, I hope they would feel, I got the vibes, I got the chill. I've chilled out a lot, and people are like, this is you chilled out? Yes. But I also think in many fundamental ways, it's so obvious I'm from the Northeast. I have that, like, and I'm not, like, I lived in the South for 8 years, but I don't have any Southern vibes. I'm not Southern at all in my personality, because, like, I'm, like, I crystallized in DC, but, like, and my grandparents are from New York and Boston. So, like, I just get that, you know, I don't like talking to strangers. I'm not blunt or brusque, but I can be. Like when I'm in the Northeast, I feel very at home. Like walking down the street, not talking to anyone, head down. I'm like, oh, my heart. It's
Which
great.
is really how you walk down the street in Los Angeles too. At least you should.
Well, and I think that's why I do well here. Honestly, I really don't get harassed or bothered much.
No.
I have been called an ice queen by, or maybe perhaps they called me an ice princess by one of the hustlers on Hollywood Boulevard who was trying to give me their CD.
Oh,
I always politely decline. I always say no, thank you. I'm polite, but sometimes they're mad about it.
Yeah, I have a lot of experience with that. My office was on Hollywood Boulevard, and so I'd be like, you guys, I'm just trying to go get a poke bowl during my lunch break. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah, and also just, like, genuinely, honestly, I don't carry cash.
No, who does? And also not carrying cash, great excuse. But yeah.
Yeah.
I'm from the part of California originally that likes to pretend it's the South. So yeah. Anytime you kind of
No, that makes sense.
get too far out, everyone's like, riding horses to school and stuff like that.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I make a joke in my book because it's the part of NorCal that like I haven't been to it, which I know is like, but I'm familiar enough with it. It's very conservative. It's like it's not what stereotypical like what people. It's not LA, and I make a joke that it could be Kentucky if it weren't for the beach. Like, and that's loving. I've been to Kentucky. I quite like Kentucky. That's not a diss on Kentucky, but I've been there. So it's like, I know what a small town.
I'm sure Kentucky's great.
No, I used to find homes for exchange students in Kentucky. That was my first real job out of college. I was very good at it. Yeah,
that's cool. I would like to know. So, are you setting it in an actual town, or are you like using one and changing the name? Like,
That's a great question. I started out totally bullshitting it. Like, I had like an approximate geographic location, but I'm talking like it could be 200 miles of coast. I was like,
got it. It's all the same up there at a certain point.
Initially, geographically, I will say I did have a town in mind. I'm so weird. There's an aspect of my plot that has to do with coastal erosion. Like it's a color thing because I read a really good article in the LA Times about how California is going to lose a bunch of its coast over the next 10 years, and it's causing serious municipal and political issues in multiple small towns. And it's really interesting, and so I incorporated it into the book. I just thought it was fun. I was like, yeah, I want to use that because I have this whole thing with the mayor, and like he doesn't want a recall election. It's a whole thing. Anyway, it creates tension because this is a real thing. There are towns all over, but there are towns in California where literally houses are falling into the sea because we're experiencing a mass acceleration of erosion, apparently. And it's very scary, and I find it really interesting. And so there was a town in the article, and I was just haunted by these like images of like literally the ocean flooding over Main Street. That's like it's real, like it's cool, but like awful. That town, though, is south of San Francisco, but I needed it to be set. I wanted it to be set much north of that. Long story, bad at short stories. Partly inspired by Catty-tastic, Cat, who is from that area. I have another friend, Emily, who's from that area, writer friends of mine, because they've told me how laborious it is for them to get to an airport. To fly to another airport to get anywhere. And I was like, I want to set a book there. I want to set logistically, I want it to be in California, but to feel really far away from things so that I could write a small town book. It's like the best of both worlds. Anyway.
Yeah.
Lexi was really helpful. Of sense to me. Whole Bananas is from this region and was like, you're describing a town that's way too big for anywhere where you were setting it.
What size were you, like, what size is it?
I've never lived in a real small town, which is also partly, and people are like, why are you writing this book? Don't judge me. Anyway.
The town I grew up in had 4,000 people.
You should read for sure then. So, because what I settled on, like, I was kind of definitely ballparking a little too big. Like, it was feeling a little bit more like something between 10 and 20,000 people, and it really needs, or it was probably feeling bigger than that even. I want it to be a sweet spot of about between 5 and 10,000 people.
Okay. Yeah, I can have some in mind. And that's probably about what you need to like support a high school, for example.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
I need to have a decent sized high school with a football team and a pool. There's a pool. Because essentially like this town, I also gave it a university because I was thinking of like Humboldt, but it's not up there. But I was thinking like, I wanted all the NorCal vibes. I wanted there to be like a dinky college, not a dinky. It's not dinky. It's a good, like a college in the woods. I wanted to have like redwoods. I wanted to have like weed. Literally and not literally, but like it's a facet of culture.
I was thinking like, I wonder if there's like lots of stoner kids. Yeah.
that was on Alexi's suggestion. And she's like, there needs to be more weed in your book.
Lexi, we need to talk. Oh no, my Alexa stopped.
Oh. Yeah, don't set off your Amazon device. But yeah, it's so it is somewhere. I also needed it to be at least a couple hours from Sacramento. That was also important for logistical reasons of the book.
I love.
I know you're like, what
so
is
much.
going on? I also need to be small enough that like everyone knows everyone and everyone's related and like there's a sheriff and it's a whole thing.
10 to 20, yeah, you would do that. You would like know the sheriffs by name. I'm just imagining where I grew up. My town was like 4,000, but it's in sort of a small community of like 4 or 5 towns that are all that size. And like the high school, for example, was in that whole area's high school. So I had to like drive 15 minutes to get to high school, for example. So lots of things. We didn't have a community college though.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's made up. It's not real, but it's probably do I mention? Anyway, like definitely like Mendocino, Fort Bragg, Ukiah, like it's in that area, but it's made up.
Based on one of the things that I know is like, you know, the famous relative who wrote about the murders that you've talked about, right?
Yeah.
That I find accurate as well, because there are many kind of locally famous people in these towns
and
too.
lots up there, lots of cult leaders, lots of serial killers. No, NorCal is really interesting. Yeah. And I want the whole thing to have that vibe of like, people have died here, weird shit goes down here, but like no one really talks about it because it's a small town. But I also like,
and everyone says, "Oh my god, it's so safe. This is a great place to raise your kids." And it's like, maybe mine was. We didn't have any serial killers. Give me 1 second. I need to let my dog out.
Okay. But no, I like that region. I'm fascinated by it. I want to go there. It's probably a little too isolated for me personally, as someone who like has only lived in cities. But I like the area. It has, but I picked it because it has trees. I can do the coast thing, and what was the third reason why I? Well, and also Murder, She Wrote. I'm talking. So I know you're there, but I'm talking to myself. They filmed the exteriors for Murder, She Wrote in Mendocino. That's another reason. It's like a wink thing. Only the exteriors, like the scenes set in Cabot Cove, were filmed here in Los Angeles at the place where I used to work. I literally would walk on the lot and be like, they filmed a scene of Murder, She Wrote there. Very weird.
That's so funny.
But
the other thing, I mean, if you were in one of these places, you cannot survive there without driving.
Which would not work for me. Exactly. Victorians, that was it. I picked this part of California because I wanted her grandmother to live in a Victorian house. That was really honestly it. Because they're a Queen Anne. I wanted to set, and I do set scenes of the book in the Queen Anne. There's a dumbwaiter, got like some low-key Gothic vibes. It's like a mood. I just needed it. I wanted it.
I am very like Spanish style in all of my stuff. That's
right.
My Malibu architecture is like Spanish style. Where I grew up is kind of Spanish style / like Old West. They do too, weirdly. Ranch style, I guess, and Santa Barbara.
I mentioned all those things in this book, plus craftsman. It's like California architecture.
It's all so the same.
Yeah, no, but so those are all the reasons. But on this revision, we'll do a sprint in a minute. Lexi was really helpful because she was like, this high school is way too nice. You gotta pull back. The houses are a little too nice.
Oh.
Like, yeah.
I don't know if I would have called that out. My high school was quite nice, but they're not all like that.
Well, I pulled back the bigness of the main school, and I just have one state-of-the-art annex because my grandmother character is a New York Times best-selling mystery fiction writer who's invested a lot in the town. And there are a couple of wealthy people, so yeah.
That's good. Yeah. There would definitely be some money there. I think with another thing
characters' parents own a winery, so
very accurate. Is your high school all like separate buildings outside where you have to walk from building to building? 'Cause that's the thing that
Yeah.
East Coast people don't
Yeah.
necessarily realize.
I did do that, though. I do have a main building and then a series of annexes. Because I am like because that is true. That is an East Coast thing. I keep envisioning the pool from my high school. And so I do have a 2-level main building because I want the pool on the bottom level because that's how it was at my school.
Oh, interesting. I am trying to think of a single nearby like campus that has two story buildings.
The high school in Fort Bragg, the main building is 2 levels.
She's done her research, everyone.
Google Street viewed that. But the rest of campus is separate buildings. And so is Ukiah High School. I Google mapped that as well.
Nice.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that I feel like in movies and stuff they always get wrong too, because I mean you want to set a movie inside because it's easier to make, but like
a lot of them
Easy A,
Georgia. So
yeah, that's true. Easy A is the movie that I think like nailed a California high school so much. Like that is what my high school looked like.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's so funny. Like I can always tell. Like even last night I watched Freaky, and it started and they showed. I was like, "That's Georgia," and I was right. Like nailed it.
Yeah.
Because like I'll be like, "Oh, same thing." I started. This is years ago, but like literally the first scene of Teen Wolf, like the second they step foot in the high school, I was like, "That's Georgia." Like because it looks like almost every high school in Georgia looks like the high school I went to, even if it's not the high school I went to. That's just they all look the same. So like architecturally, they were mostly built around the same time, depending on where you are. So.
Interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
Never been to Georgia. Don't know if I'll ever go, but I'm sure it's great. My dad was from Georgia.
It's
That's
Georgia.
all I got.
It's Georgia. They're having some problems now with you know racist policy and stuff. So I only lived there for like 10 years. So
only 10 years.
Only 10 years. Hey, I've lived a long life so far. I'm on my 4th major city I've lived in. So
wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I've lived in DC, Atlanta, Boston, and LA.
Nice.
So that's like the 4 quarters of my life, basically.
Where I grew up is one place I've lived. Orange County, went to college there. Los Angeles, that's basically all I have.
Well, fairness, California is kind of amazing.
I mean, yeah, it is.
I've drunk the Kool-Aid. It's a great place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would like to live somewhere with weather, but who knows?
Right, we have a cat cameo. It is not a kitten.
Yay. It's my old man cat, Teddy. Hi, he's so cute.
He's so great.
I like Devasia saying that she loves Easy A, and Easy A is that bitch. That she is. So good.
So I did not live in Kentucky. I worked with Kentucky. So I managed the entire region. I actually managed the whole South for my company. So I managed 3 regional coordinators in Kentucky who placed between them over 300 exchange students in the state of Kentucky every year. So, but I was fortunate to be able to visit specifically, and I went and like stayed and like visited families in Lexington, and I thought Lexington was charming. My coordinator lived in horse country, and we were like on a farm. It was lovely. So, yeah.
So nice.
Kentuckians are some of my favorite people, though. So
it's a good accent for sure.
I can do the accent. I won't because I have to slide into it, but people used to like make fun of me at work because we'd be on the phone with our coordinators, and I do this. I mean, I have this problem. I will slide into people's accents.
I do that too. I know it sounds like I'm just agreeing with you. I also do that. It's
I just like I relax and it's like y'all. It just starts to come out.
Oh my
That's not
God.
like Georgia,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I had when I was in high school, I worked in a frozen yogurt shop. Random fun fact. And there was a time when I was watching a lot of Made in Chelsea, which is essentially like The Hills but London.
Yeah.
And such a big fan. And anyway, a British person came in to get frozen yogurt one day, and I had watched Made in Chelsea for like 4 hours that morning. So it was like right at the top of my mind, and I slipped into it, and I had to quickly like course correct before this person thought I was making fun of them. But it was really bad. That doesn't happen quite as much anymore, probably because like the British things I watch are like Love Island, for example, where everyone has a different accent. I don't slip into it quite as much. But if everyone has the same one, it's bad.
Yeah. And it's also like, I do it now that I'm in California. It's just less obvious because it's California. Mm-hmm. But I will kind of do more of like, I talk more Californian than I did before.
Yeah.
And I never did a Boston accent.
Lucky
you. Oh. Well, but like some of it, I do up talk. I have more vocal fry. Like it's, you just slide into it. And then when I lived in Boston, like most people in Boston don't have a Massachusetts accent. So like that was never a problem, except like you get into like the Wicked thing. Oh, that's Wicked had like you just slip into it. It's so weird. I love it though.
That's so funny. Yeah, I think I've been to Boston 3 days in my whole life. It was a blur. I don't remember anything.
That's not even really the accent. That's the thing. Like people don't realize. Like I mean, if you go to Southie, like yeah, they'll like talk like that. But you really got to go outside of Boston to get the accent. But then like the Western Mass, I actually did explain this to my editor. It's kind of hilarious because I described the accent of my police character in Ivy's. Right? Was that the book? Yes. I did. And she's like, wouldn't it sound more like this? And I was like, no, that's Boston. She has a Western Massachusetts accent. It sounds like this. And I pointed her to a documentary on Netflix. I was like, that is what she sounds like.
Oh, wow.
It's very weird. I love accents.
I don't think I've ever given anyone an accent. And
it's fun.
I think that's fine.
It's hard to describe though. Like I'm not saying I did it well. And unless people had heard it, they probably couldn't like picture it in their ear. Yeah.
It's anyway, that's
anyway. What high school did I go to in Georgia? I went to Lakeside High School in Decatur. So
was there a lake?
No, of course not. I don't know why. There was probably a lake at some point, but no, there's no lake. There's also multiple Lakeside High Schools in Georgia. Fun fact.
That sounds confusing.
Yeah, because why not be confusing? All right, Sprint. I will talk forever if given the license. So
I will too. Who you need on here is Violet, who's writing Violet. She is very good at making everyone sprint. I will say that. I am not. I'm like, let's just chat. Who needs to?
Do we want to? Why don't we do 30 minutes? And like we that'll be the last sprint.
Okay.
That's like meaty. Let me find a 30-minute timer.
Wow. Lexi's high school graduating class was 10 people.
That's upsetting. Oh, and that was actually that was the comment Lexi made to me. She's like, this feels like a high school that has like over 1,000 kids. I was like, called out. I was clearly going off of my high school experience. My that graduating class had about 450 kids. So
okay, my high school had I think like 980 kids total. So maybe we're right on. I don't know. I don't know how many kids there are at the high school now, though, because I feel like only old people live there now. It's all the same people that, like, still live there. And I'm like, do you have kids? Like, where do the young people live? I don't know. What do they do? That's the thing.
Vienna, Austria? It's very late. Es ist sehr spät. Or early. That's true. Might be. Early. That's the other thing I do, by the way. If I don't do it as much anymore, but if I drink responsibly, kids, I will start speaking German. That is another weird tick that I have.
That's a very appropriate time to start speaking German.
It's because I mean, obviously, because I'm capable of speaking it, but like it's literally in my subconscious because I haven't spoken German in such a long time, and it just comes out. It's really funny. Anyway, I'm responsible. I will start this. 1 second.
That's fine.
I'm getting it set up to skip the ad.
The bigger high school where Lexi lived had 400 people, but she went to a charter school. Love
Double
explaining
barreled
it. Clarifying.
Okay, great. Ugh. All right. I want to finish this section. Yeah, that's a goal. Okay.
I don't think that's going to happen for me, but wishing you luck.
I believe in you.
Thank
And
you.
me. Yay.
I love that you did that. Because
I
after
know.
30 minutes, Brent, it really feels as though we did something.
I like it. And I bring you Kitten. He was there a bit while we were writing. This is Leo. He's a little
Leo.
squirmy, but he's very sweet.
Oh. I do have a question about Leo's name.
Yes.
Not the first thing you've named Leo.
Well, so it's unintentional. I keep forgetting that I haven't actually posted the vlog because I'm still filming it where I got them, right? He was already named Leo. The foster, the rescue, named him Leo. And I kept it because I like that name, obviously.
Okay. Is he a Leo?
I think it's just he looks like a lion. Basic. But I can be like, well, we'll pretend it's because I named a character Leo. Mm-hmm. And then Bronte's the girl. She's over there sleeping, so she's not here right now. She had a different name, but I didn't like it. So I did choose her name. And a character in my new book is named Bronte, but it's also a nod to the Bronte sisters. It's all of those things all at once. But it's, there's a character in my new thriller named Bronte. And the name's really grown on me, and I really like it.
It's nice. So. Yeah, that is something I was like, Leo, interesting. And now we know that there's a Bronte. There's a theme.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and if asked, in order to sound smart, I will say that she is named for the Bronte sisters, and he is named for Tolstoy. It's not true, but it sounds really good.
You and go for Tolstoy, I go for Zodiac.
It could be DiCaprio. We don't know.
Mm-hmm. He's a blonde.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I did, a lot in that time. Do you ever find, like, weird Scribner autocorrect instances? Like, I found the weirdest thing in my book, and I was like, there's no way this isn't just, like, a random Scribner situation.
Does it autocorrect?
Sometimes it does, if it finds a typo. Oh. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's a Mac thing. I don't know. But mine will sometimes autocorrect if there's a typo. And this one, it decided the phrase that I was trying to use was united piece of toast. And I have no idea what united was supposed to be. Not a single clue. But I was like, weird. Oh, okay. Well, glad I'm reading through this.
Oh, well, I finished that scene and now I'm in the next one. In this next section... I'm right at the midpoint turn. She's about to discover something big, but my editor didn't like the motivation for her to snoop where she's snooping. So I have to invent something new. So I'll finish that later tonight after we have said goodbye because it's been 2 hours.
I love a midpoint turn.
Yeah, no, and it's I think it's pretty good. I'm not mad about it.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, this goddamn book. It's fine. We're fine. I'm just so behind, but at the same time, like, I know it's worth taking the time, and my editor's not pressuring me. She's lovely, but I have self-imposed pressure because, like, if I take too long, I will get bumped. Like, that's just reality. But I really want the book to be good. So it's worth taking the time to, like, the section I'm in now, like, throwing out the previous chapter and rewriting it. It's worth it if it makes it better, because, like, all I hear in my ear is all the things people criticize my writing for. So that's fun.
Yeah.
Hi, Leo. He's back.
See, I just never let anyone criticize my writing, so that's the trick there.
Well, the public criticizes my writing. I can't.
Yeah, you're like, I don't let them. They just do.
They just do.
Yeah. Oh, Leo.
He's so cute. He's right here.
So cute.
He's a lap cat. He likes to be, like, right here. You can't see him, but it's very cute. And then the other one, Bronte likes to sleep right here on top of me in the morning, but she doesn't cuddle with me on the couch. They're slightly different cats.
Hi, Leo.
We all have our things.
He's butting my hand because he wants the pets. He's very, very cute. And I keep calling them kittens. They are technically, but they are also huge. Look at that big ass cat. He's cute.
No. Every dog is a puppy until proven otherwise, and you never prove otherwise. So every dog's a puppy.
they've grown so much because I've had them now almost 2 months, and they're just they're like whole cats now. I actually like kittens are cute, but I prefer cats. I really do. I like it when they're like when I first got them, I was afraid to use more than 2 fingers to pet them because they were so small. I like to use my whole hand. I mean, because Teddy, my old man cat, he's huge. I love a giant cat. I'm like, yeah, I want to hug it. So
I'm sure I would be a cat person if I wasn't allergic.
oh,
That's my
okay.
struggle. Yeah.
I would suffer if I were allergic. I'd just be sad all the time because I love them so much. I am a cliche. Like I am that cat lady, basically.
I love it.
Yeah.
They're great, and I think dogs are hard. I always realize that when I'm actually taking care of them by myself, which I am right now. Like dogs are hard.
Yeah. I do like dogs too. I just haven't had one honestly in a really long time. But when I did, I loved my puppers. But it just doesn't suit my lifestyle. No. Cats are a little easier. So.
No, I've always said that. I can't imagine. I had a roommate that had a dog in LA, and I just can't imagine like not being able to just open the door and like let them go to the bathroom. You just take them for walks all the time.
Small apartment, not a lot of grass, and like when I do actually physically go to the office, like I would have to hire. I would hire a dog walker or something because it just doesn't seem responsible to me to leave your dog all day. I know some people do it because they have to, but I don't want to do that. So it's never been a good fit for me here in the city. So, and also I want a giant dog. Like my dream dog is a Newfoundland, and that's what I would want. And I like big fluffy animals. So
yeah, I'm seeing you like in a beautiful Victorian mansion with a Newfoundland, like living the dream,
and a dozen cats.
Yeah.
If I were allowed at my worst, I would have more cats. Unfortunately, the cat lady is strong with this one.
That's fine.
All right, I guess we'll wrap up. It's almost 8 for us and really late for other people if they're in other time zones, and I need to eat some dinner. So, thank you everyone for joining. I will probably do this again because I really have to finish this book, and this forced me to work, so that's great.
Yeah, it's good pressure when you have to like tell people how much you got done. I did see someone ask like when you're planning on doing this in the future. I don't know if that's a question you're ready to answer.
I'm very bad at planning ahead of time, so we'll see. I'll try to do it again in the next week at least because I really do have to work on this book. I'm working on it every day, mind you, but today I was like, this will definitely make me work.
And before it made me work too, so I probably would have sat down on the couch and like started watching Outer Banks or something. I don't know.
Maybe I'll rope you into it.
No one needs to do that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Because if I don't end this, I will talk forever. Thank you for joining me, and we will do this again.
Yeah, totally. Anytime.
Go watch Miranda's channel, subscribe. Links are down below. Bye, guys.